Marie, thank you for getting us started there. I do have a question, if you don't mind. I'm curious if you can tell us a little bit about what kinds of stakeholders got involved in the cohort challenges, and what did it mean for them to get involved? Were they enrolled in courses or coming to meetings, or what did that involvement look like, and by whom?
It's a great question. Luis, do you want to say, actually, I'm going to turn things over to Luis, and actually some of our presenters are going to talk about the relationship with a stakeholder group in Puerto Rico. The thing is that some of the other projects, for example, stakeholders came to meetings. The photograph in this image is of a symposium that we had pre-COVID, where we invited stakeholders from dairy production, and one of the projects was about nutrient loss, and we had a stakeholder from the fertilizer industry, the regulator, an environmental group, and also an organization that worked with farmers on conservation. And they listened to a presentation from the group of students who was working on nutrient loss, and those folks were planning on building a tool, and all of the stakeholders said, yeah, we don't want tools. We don't need another tool. So they basically changed their project. So that's one set of, and our food waste project basically wanted to know how the general public dealt with food waste. So they did surveys of the public. And then, Luis, do you want to say something about the folks?
I don't have to. You're doing great, Anna. But I guess I'll say, Chelsea, thanks for the question. It's really right on target, because some of our cohort challenges actually initiated with no identified stakeholders. And the teams themselves worked towards identifying and actively inviting those people in, developing relationships. You might say on the fly, but those relationships then did affect their actions, their activities, their research. Some of our others, we really had relationships existing already. And I think you'll hear that a bit in some of the presentations that are upcoming. And because those relationships had become established and grew through over multiple years, we found that some of the key features that Anna already highlighted, that they were able to go. So who are they? These are people from non-governmental organizations. These are people from various parts of private and public sector, industry groups. So they really did represent a variety of different folks, even some instances practitioners as well. So I would say.
I've got one question, and it's about the rationale for including stakeholder engagement as a module in the curriculum in the first place, how that came about. Was it student driven, PI driven? Just curious about how that came into the mix of the breadth of things that you have in the INFEWS-ER.
Great question, Andy. So at the beginning of the INFEWS-ER, we had a symposium where we invited both leaders in FEWS system research, and we had some graduate students there as well. And we engaged in a process of an iterative process of asking that group of people what they thought important transdisciplinary skills were. And stakeholder engagement was one of the things that rose to the top. So it was identified as a real need in the group of people who attended our kickoff symposium. And so we basically designed the module to address this need. And I have to say that the students really take to it. They really sort of understand intuitively how important it is to do the stakeholder engagement. And that's really exciting. John, did you?
Yeah, I'll put a personal touch on this. As an engineer, I was attending that initial symposium. And as an engineer, I understand talking to your clients for the design purpose, but stakeholder engagement is a bit different. And I was one that said, talked to the social scientists in the room, such as Anna, and said, I don't know what this is. I need help with it. And so therefore others will too. And I'm glad we were able to do that. That really has expanded my research, just my view of research, and in fact, directly with one of my students.
That's great. Well, thank you. I hope we'll have more time to continue the discussion, but I would like to move on and ask Daniela to share her screen and share her experience.